Are you looking for a new spot to relax and unwind? The Post, located on the south side of the Telegraph District on the corner of 20th and N Street, is perfect for a group hangout or a relaxing evening. The Post has plenty of exciting events open to the public, like Whiskey Wednesday and poker tournaments on Sundays. Looking for a spot for a private event? Ask them about their indoor patio. The Post, located at 20th and N Street in Lincoln. Golfing in 72 degrees and perfect conditions in Nebraska doesn't seem possible in the winter, but it is. Double Eagle Golf is your escape from the bone-chilling cold outside and a reason to keep your clubs out year-round. Book a bay with some friends for a weekend or come by for golf and happy hour on a weekday. Spring leagues begin in February. Get signed up today. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex at West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf.
Problem gambling is not just a financial issue. It's an emotional problem with financial consequences. If your loved one is struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's 24-hour helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 402-476-2300.
Ironhide Construction is hiring. They're looking for hardworking, self-motivated individuals who are team players. Ironhide Construction has openings for an experienced project manager, estimator, apprentice, skilled laborer, and erector or installer. They will train the right people and make sure you understand the position and requirements. At Ironhide Construction, it's own it, be honest, and do it right. Apply today and learn more about their other benefits at ironhideconstruction.com, where they're committed to you every step of the way.
John Henry's would like to remind you, if you haven't already, to unhook your outdoor hoses and check faucets for leaks so your pipes don't freeze. As the official plumber of the Huskers, you know who to call when a plumbing issue arises. From frozen pipes to clogged drains, we can help you protect your home this winter. Give
John Henry's
a call today to schedule at
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $24.62 per hour, which grows to $28.97 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $33.36 per hour, with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates, with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Erick Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Welcome to it on a gloomy, cloudy Thursday here in the capital city. Just gloomy outside, though. Great vibes inside Pinnacle Bank Arena last night as Nebraska takes down Indiana, final score of 86-70. That's where we're headed in this first segment. Give us your player of the game from last night on the text line 402-464-5685. I'm Austin Norman, joined as always by the Husker Hall of Famer, the 9-year NBA vet, man in the arena last night, Mr. Erick Strickland. Strick, I only got a chance to watch this one from afar. Take me inside Pinnacle Bank Arena. First game back after a long break. Nebraska's previous game was a blowout against South Carolina State. What was the mood, the vibe, the energy inside PBA last night?
Well, obviously the student section wasn't there. So you had to wonder initially what it was going to be like. It was very mild mannered. It was snow had started to kind of creep in earlier in the evening. So it wasn't full, which was a surprise. I thought it would be probably more people. But
yeah,
it
what, 13,000, I think?
Yeah. Still a good crowd. But there were moments, and this is the good thing about Nebraska basketball at this period of time. They're doing these little things, diving on floors, getting loose balls, winning 50-50 balls, making good plays, making solid plays. And they're doing all of this stuff, which then enables the crowd to kind of get into it. So you had moments where it got pretty loud. It got because the crowd was appreciative they were appreciative of the effort that the Husker basketball team was given.
As you look at the stats, I know you have them in front of you there, and just going back to what it was you watched last night, what was the stat that turned this into a 16-point game? It was an 8-point game at half. Nebraska adds 8 points to that lead by the end of the game. What's the stat that stands out to you from Huskers and Hoosiers last night?
Well, it was not only the amount of steals. They had a 10-point differentials in steals, meaning they stole the ball 15 times to 5. But it was the points generated, not just the steals themselves. You have a 10-point differential. Sometimes you can get steals and they're meaningless other than the fact that there's a possession. That doesn't mean that you're going to score. Doesn't mean that you're going to get to the foul line. Doesn't mean anything other than the fact that they either turned the ball over or you were able to get a steal. They turned those steals into points off of turnovers by a margin of 27-6. Those on the road, especially for a team, are hard to overcome, but they're greatly beneficial to a team that's at home. And this is what I've always talked about, Austin. I've always said that when you look at this Nebraska team, there are going to be differentials. This is what me and Bach were talking about last night. Mm-hmm. You can go down the whole stat sheet, go back and reference them, look at it, see when they've lost games, what their differential negative was. In whatever category, I'm not talking about anything specific, but in some category, whether it be free throw shooting, whether it be shots, 3-pointers, obviously we can reference the 2 for 22 and against Creighton. That differential in itself, when they were hot, when you have a hot team against a team that's not shooting well in the 3-point, that differential can hurt you because you're talking about 3 for nothing.
Right.
So the differentials that Nebraska are able to obtain from game to game, no matter what it is, shooting more free throws, getting more assists, more rebound margin, whatever that is, if they can win 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 of those categories, they'll win a lot of their games.
Nebraska makes 3 more field goals overall. They make 3 more 3-pointers, but they also knock down 7 more free throws on 7 more attempts. The number that jumped out to me first was Indiana's 50% shooting from 3-point range. If you told me a mediocre shooting team shot 50% from 3, I'd be a little sketched out. If you told me Indiana out-rebounded Nebraska, I might not have been so surprised given the rank mass we thought was limited coming into the day. Okay, Indiana's a big team. I believe that they out-rebound Nebraska, but by 7, that's a pretty substantial margin. You're tied on offensive rebounds, though, which is fine. So then what do I go to, Strick? I go to not just the turnovers, the points off turnovers, the passing from Nebraska. I said yesterday Nebraska needed to do some drive and kick. Nebraska did a good job of generating some open looks. Casey hit some contested ones, but 15 assists on 27 made baskets. That's the ball movement I wasn't sure Nebraska would be able to get against Indiana's length and athleticism.
Well, the way that they were able to obtain it is by really focusing. Now, you saw instances like, for example, C.J. Wilcher. He sometimes they don't get it, right? And it's these little kind of just stand in the place and not necessarily go body to body with somebody. But you saw Rink Mass and you saw Josiah Alec putting bodies on people, sometimes Bryce, Gary. But whenever they put bodies on people, it gave them opportunities to turn on some of that action, get into the paint deep. And a couple times, what I saw that was different is there were some mid-range opportunities that they made, and there were some floaters.
The one that you talked about was Casey's jumper from the left corner. Shot fake, step into it. Why was that such an important shot?
Well, it was important because if you're a team that's trying to become a winning pedigree of a program, have a winning pedigree and mentality, you have to learn how to build on leads. You have to learn how to kill runs and create your own. You can't have these long sustaining runs or these situations where you're taking bad shots and you allow runs to get back into the game and now you're in a fight. That requires execution. It requires the ability of the team to not take that shot, even though it's open, even though it's in my wheelhouse, even though I'm hot, but to get the easier opportunities. Now, it doesn't mean going there to Khalil Ware and, try to throw up something. It means get there, and take the best shot, which is sometimes the mid-range. And that's what he did. But see, that's the difference, because if he takes that three, Austin, and misses, they were up, I think, 13 at that time. Now you're looking at possibly being 10, in around the 10, 11-minute mark, 9-minute mark.
That's manageable.
Manageable 14.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, it takes it to 15. That's what you do to build leads. That's what you do, because now it puts the pressure on them. And that's what you saw late in that game as the time began to get under 10 in that 8-7. They were still kind of there, but then it got to 5, and now they're starting to press.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you want to create on a team, whether it be on the road or whether it be at home. You want to create not that freedom that teams can have, not that ease of play. You want to create that friction, that pressure, that tension, so that those shots are coming up short, or they're coming up, empty, and not necessarily, because when you shoot free, you can make a lot more than you can if you're shooting with tenseness in you.
Right. When you look at Nebraska putting that pressure on Indiana, that definitely manifests itself in the turnover numbers. Was that Indiana being sloppy and careless, or was that good defensive pressure from Nebraska?
I think it's all the way around. It's understanding the scouting report. It's looking at knowing what they're trying to accomplish, and they was making adjustments. Early on, Indiana did a wonderful job in that they attacked the middle of the paint with Khalil Ware. They got him the ball in positions for him to do something with. And so they made adjustments in how they were going to cover that and help out on that. Indiana tried to make it by going weak side, but their rotations were really crisp. Early on, they had a couple of communication moments when they're not talking it through, and then they end up going together at the same time. So they worked it out, and it got better in the second half. And so they're now getting hands on balls. They're now getting deflections, and then they're winning those 50-50 balls and getting to it. So it worked out for them.
Huskers win at 86-70, win both halves by 8 points, 41-33 at halftime. Second half was 45-37 advantage Nebraska. Let's talk about Rink Mast for a sec, Strick. Not his best game, not a banner day for him in terms of the numbers, but maybe some of his most important contributions were the 30 minutes. I mean, 9 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds, and a steal is fine. That's a solid day at the office. But Rink Mast, with like a day and a half of practice, was asked to play 30 minutes, fresh off this knee surgery that he had after the Kansas State game. What an impressive, gutty night from Nebraska's transfer from Bradley.
Well, I have to agree. And I have to even give kudos to the fact that even though, let me first, before I reference that, Josiah Alec only having 2 points, but 8 rebounds on 29 minutes is huge. So his numbers were productive. On top of that, 3 assists.
Right.
With only 1 turnover. So we've been seeing of him fumble Ruski, is just uncertain about some of his drives, untimely drives, trying to create something, but he just stayed within himself. So I want to give kudos to that. The difference, I think, in this whole situation was Gary early on getting hit in the temple, which kind of put him out for a little bit. So he only plays 20 minutes. So those are minutes that I think Gary would have probably played in the upper 25 to 28 range, which would have taken more from Mass. And I'm going to give you the reason for that in a second. Then you got to look at Wilcher going down and only now playing 14 minutes, where he probably could have been in that 22 to 25 range.
Good matchup for him against Indiana.
Against his team. Now, here's the reason why Mass goes up to 30. This team is built, and this is why you don't probably see Blaze Keita as much and why he's still sitting out, because it looks as me as the system is built for them at any given time. And if you're not a basketball connoisseur, log off, go somewhere else, because this is deep stuff.
Actually, don't. Stay around and listen and learn.
This is deep stuff, and you might not like it because you're like, I just want to hear about the basketball. This is deep. Any given time, this Husker team is going to, at most case, have 4 players that can shoot. Just look at, you can go back and track the lineups. Most cases, they're going to have 4 shooters, and that's to include Rink Mast. When they don't, they struggle with spacing and they struggle with getting clean opportunities and shots. Rink Mast gives them the ability to stretch, move guys, keep guys, even though he didn't hit shots, just the fact that he could do it gave opportunities for like a Gary to get an extra rebound because Khalil's got to come out.
Right.
Now there are big guys out there, and it leaves a one-on-one with one of the most physical guys in the Big Ten in Gary, which he got a couple of offensive rebounds off of. So without Rink Mass playing that amount of time, you don't have the offensive freedom and those backdoor cuts and all the stuff that they were able to get with Rink Mass being out. So you can't do that. You can't have Josiah. You're probably not going to ever see a lineup with Josiah and Joe unless there's foul trouble from Rink Mass or Gary. You're always going to see Gary and Rink Mass with Josiah Alec out there just for the fact that they need 4 shooters.
Nebraska started
to have success.
Right. Nebraska started the year, Strick, with both big guys in Alec and Mast on the floor, but we haven't seen a lot of high-low between those two, right? And even in college basketball, there's not a lot of, 2 posts on the floor playing high-low. Indiana, I think, still is in that mode, right? They have Renault, they have Ware that can both stretch the floor a little bit, but their offense didn't feel as crisp or as modern. Whereas Nebraska playing 4 around 1 or even 5 out with Rink Mast out there, there's just a different freedom of movement that teams that play 4 or 5 out have compared to teams that want to stick one guy at the high post and one guy in the block have.
This is where I think now, this is why I think they match up really good with Wisconsin. Because Wisconsin's going to try to run high-low, pro-style action, a lot of pick and roll, which I think fits good with the style that Nebraska plays. I think Wisconsin has a not a matchup, but I think they have a stylistic trouble with the way that Nebraska plays. Which, as long as they play well, shoot well, don't do stupid stuff, turn over the ball, all the dumb stuff that you can do on the road. As long as they don't do that, I think this could either be a good game or they have a chance to win it. I also think it works well with Purdue.
That's important because those are the next 2 games for Nebraska.
I think this style, playing against this Indiana team gives them a great viewpoint. Now, it's also going to give Purdue an opportunity to look at the way that they played it, because I think Nebraska's going to try it early, and they'll probably have something in their back pocket to switch to, because Purdue is probably going to try to do a lot of the stuff that Indiana did early with Khalil Ware, which is definitely taking advantage in deep paint opportunities. But again, if I'm Nebraska, I'm trying to run the freak out of them and get those early opportunities, early offense opportunities before Zach Edey and those guys can get set.
Right. If we look at, we've talked about Purdue's guards, how they're so up and down, so inconsistent. Nebraska's guards, I think, are starting to play better. But same with Wisconsin. Chucky Hepburn just came back from an injury. He'll be out there. I'm not completely sold on Esijan necessarily. AJ Storr is really good, but I like Juwan Gary on him. I think Nebraska can pressure these guards again into some of those same mistakes. And Wisconsin will shoot it at an okay clip, but it's not what they want to do first. They want to play through Wall and Crowell. So this, to me, Strick, as we look forward to Wisconsin, I like this Nebraska team against Wisconsin too, because you can trust this Nebraska team to operate in the half court. They're getting more confidence there, and Wisconsin will still want to slow down and play in the half court. You can trust Nebraska to dig in on defense and work for a good shot more on offense this year than you have in years past.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is why I say those differential situations. I think Nebraska needs to win it by way of points off turnovers, by transition points, and possibly have somebody off of the bench. And this is what's good about this team. A couple games ago, it's CJ Wilcher. This game is Tamanaga. Another game, it was Bryce. So a team that's trying to prepare for them, how do you prepare? You really can't scheme them, because this next game could be freaking Rink Mask,
right?
So I like what they've got going. I mean, one thing I will say, I hope that it's not too bad for CJ Wilcher, because I love him coming off in that 6-man role, the confidence that he's displaying.
He's had some huge first halves recently.
Yeah, man, he's looking really good, and he gets them going and keeps them. If anything seems to kind of get in disarray, you have that scoring punch that comes off of the bench and gives you just a little shot in the arm, as he would put his hands down and do that. Yeah, he's embraced that role, and I think in the embracing of that role is really helped. Well, let me just say, embracing of all of the players in their roles. Like even right now, you see Sam Hoiberg just scrappy, just getting after, hounding, getting little steals, reading plays on post. Like those are the type of things you'll find him doing against Zach Edey as they're trying to do post, kind of sneaking an opportunity to go and get a steal. Those are the things they're embracing, those roles.
We have a couple of things on the text line I want to get to here in just a sec. But before we do that, Strick, we mentioned Rink Mass is a good matchup against Wisconsin, playing 30 minutes. What do the next 2 days look like for him? Fresh off of surgery, played more than expected. How do you manage his workload and walkthrough and his recovery these next couple of days?
I mean, you already know what you've got. You already know what you're going to run through. My thing is continuing to figure out how you can involve Eli Rice for versatility purposes and in what that role is going to be for him. Because you're probably at some point, based off of injury or based off of foul needs, you're going to need that young man to come forth and give you something. So
if CJ's out with the spasms, if someone's in foul trouble,
you want him to be ready, like mentally also.
And a big part of that you've talked about with him too is being a dog on the defensive end, right? I thought going into the year that follow Bryce Williams was the plan for him, but you think it's follow Juwan Gary.
Follow Juwan Gary. I think it's follow Juwan Gary, and the reason being I think it's follow Juwan Gary is Juwan's going to be leading. That role that Juwan Gary plays and has played up is going to be void. And if you can become that dog, that force, that strength in that position, the willingness to take on the best forward that they're going to bring to the table in any given game. I don't care if it's non-con or if it's Big Ten. You want to be that guy, because if Coach Hoiberg can trust you like he's trust Juwan Gary, then you're going to be able to see a lot of opportunities be presented to you. You just don't want them to be able to bring somebody in to become him for you become it. And then all your roles will begin to expand out of that.
I like that. Let's go to the text line here. 007 asks, on defense, why do the Huskers always dig from the opposite side? So why do they bring that player from the weak side to double in the post?
Because the first, I don't know for sure, but I can just as a professional can kind of lay it out. The easiest pass to make is what pass? The strong side.
Strong side corner.
All right. So you don't want to dig strong side because all the guy's going to do is shift from wing to corner and boom, and most likely it's going to be a tough shot for you to recover back to. Or all the post man. These are easy post techniques. Fake the pass out. Guy leaves because he thinks he's got to go and recover, and now you get into your stuff.
It's a one-on-one.
That's a one-on-one. So the dig is really a null and void. You come weak side, that's the hardest thing for a young post guy to learn. I don't care if he's even a pro post guy. Outside of Jokic and guys like AD.
Embiid's getting there.
You know what I'm saying? And outside of that, they can make those adjustments. But the hardest pass to make is to know that someone's coming weak side. You can't get into your mojo, and now you have to try to find somebody weak and put it on a dime. But it's an easy rotation because the top guy throws to the corner. He rotates, they rotate. You cover, and you saw that's what Nebraska did all night. They were able to in most cases, get out of it and get to a recovery moment. So it's easier and better to come from the weak because it's the toughest thing. And Zach Edey struggled. This is why they were able to beat them in the tournament last year. Zach Edey struggled with that big time. Now I'm pretty sure he's gotten better. I'm pretty sure he understands it, but I still think you got to come with it with strength and to the body. Force him to make a good play off of the pass.
So much of it too, Strick, is the mindset of post guys, right? Think about a lot of them growing up, especially if they were tall early. They were given the ball and said, "You're taller, just drop it in the bucket." So many post guys are wired to score first. They don't grow up passing the ball out. They get it in. It's okay. How do I get my shot up? So to try to learn that at the college or even the pro level is difficult. And even as tall as they are, it's like, oh, just hold the ball above your head and do that. The athleticism, the speed and defensive schemes, Strick. As you look at Nebraska bringing that guy from weak side to double two, Nebraska knows what its next rotation is, right? As the guy's coming to double, Nebraska's shifting around, right? It's not this standing, it's just one guy coming. Everyone else is moving in concert too. So you have to process that in real time and almost kind of like we saw with Alexander and Shireman. on that 1-3. Alexander drives from the right baseline, kicks it back to the right wing to Shireman. It's so incredibly difficult to go against the grain and against the flow of a defense that's in rotation.
That's why it was a special play. That's why he was so wide open, because your rotations are geared for that. You're always geared to go weak. But here's the thing. Here's the thing I will say. This, if I'm Nebraska, and if Fred Hoiberg and the crew and Nate Linzer and all those guys are listening, here's what I would do. If I was, I can even do this against Wisconsin, but I wouldn't, because I'd want to save it for Purdue.
Okay.
But when you're playing Purdue, I wouldn't come on Zach Edey until he puts it down once. Because he's going to be trained. His growth is going to be look first, then go. So you don't want to show him double, because then he's gonna know what his next pass is going to be.
Make him think he can go one-on-one.
First, you make him think that it's a one-on-one. Then guess what he's going to do? He's going to get into his mojo. You don't let him get into his strength, because the strength of Zach Edey is left shoulder jump
right hook. Yep.
Right? So you want him to go middle. The minute he puts it down middle, you don't let him spin back. You fire into his dribble, and that's gonna tense him up, and he's not going to know what to do. And so you're either going to get the ball, hit the ball. He's going to try to throw something up, but you stay to that strong side, because he's going. Anytime you have adversity, what do you always revert to?
The thing you're most comfortable with.
You're most comfortable with. So he's going to go try to get to that right hook, because it's going to be one of the things that he's most comfortable with, because he feels the tension on the inside. He's not going to want to go to a left hook, even though he's got it.
Right.
So there's where you want to create that little uncertainty out of Zach Edey early, and you want to use that to get out to a lead, because then that's going to force them to do something different.
And then there's occasionally the opportunity when he puts his head down where Sam Hoiberg can kind of, Jose Alvarado sneak in underneath, but not until he puts his head down and looks the other way. You can't send the double from strong side, because he hasn't made his dribble, and it's just right back in.
Too easy.
Big win for Nebraska, 86-70 Huskers over the Hoosiers. We're going to take a break here. When we get back, we'll have Brian Munson on the line. That's right, a recruiting insider. He's down at the All-American Bowl down in San Antonio. 3 Husker football recruits are playing in that game on Saturday. We'll hear from Brian. What are the sights and the sounds down in San Antonio? All that and more next on The Block.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric is the call I make when I have a need for plumbing services. Whether it's for my home or office, if I need a repair to a water heater, softener, or even my garbage disposal, I know I can count on Action to help. In one simple call, their amazing customer service team promptly schedules a service call, often getting to my needs within a day. Action delivers honest quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
Golfing in 72 degrees and perfect conditions in Nebraska doesn't seem possible in the winter, but it is. Double Eagle Golf is your escape from the bone-chilling cold outside and a reason to keep your clubs out year-round. Book a bay with some friends for a weekend or come by for golf and happy hour on a weekday. Spring leagues begin in February. Get signed up today. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex at West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf. Are you looking for a new spot to relax and unwind? The Post, located on the south side of the Telegraph District on the corner of 20th and N Street, is perfect for a group hangout or a relaxing evening. The Post has plenty of exciting events open to the public, like Whiskey Wednesday and poker tournaments on Sundays. Looking for a spot for a private event? Ask them about their indoor patio. The Post, located at 20th and N Street in Lincoln.
A lot of work goes into making Nebraska, Nebraska. Keeping it green, helping it thrive, making it fun. Everything that goes into caring for our outdoors, from waters to wildlife, plays a big role in making Nebraska home. Learn how we help conserve our state's natural resources at outdoornebraska.org.
Paid for by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
WWE Friday Night SmackDown returns to Lincoln. January 12th, 6:45 p.m. Pinnacle Bank Arena.
Let's throw down right now.
See Rey Mysterio, LA Knight, Bobby Lashley, The Street Profits, Charlotte Flair, Io Sky, Carlito, and more. It's WWE's Friday Night SmackDown in Lincoln, January 12th. Tickets start at $25 and on sale now at Ticketmaster.
This is Jeff Essing, owner of Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping and host of Fitness Fanatics. Over the years, we've helped countless people gain strength, lose fat, build confidence, and change their life. And it all starts with the Farrell's 10-Week Challenge. Now is the best time to sign up with the new year right around the corner. You can enroll for the January 10-Week Challenge for only $299. That's 10 weeks of kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching. Head to fxblincoln.com for more information on how to enroll. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill and 70th and Vine.
Are you tired of living in pain? It's time to take control. At Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, we're your one-stop shop for expert care in Lincoln. From broken bones to complex reconstruction, our skilled team will help you get back on track. Visit prairieortho.com today and discover why we're the trusted choice for thousands of patients. Don't let pain hold you back. Take the first step towards a better, pain-free life with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, where healing begins. Call 402-489-4700.
Ironhide Construction is hiring. They're looking for hardworking, self-motivated individuals who are team players. Ironhide Construction has openings for an experienced project manager, estimator, apprentice, skilled laborer, and erector or installer. They will train the right people and make sure you understand the position and requirements. At Ironhide Construction, it's own it, be honest, and do it right. Apply today and learn more about their other benefits at ironhideconstruction.com, where they're committed to you every step of the way.
I see the future in our public school classrooms every day. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. I also see how critically important parent and community support is to our students' success. Support your public schools. Get involved. Form a business school partnership or become a school volunteer. Great schools and great communities work hand in hand.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
No time to waste. We're jumping right into it here with our guests on the show on our Allo VIP line, brought to you by Allo Fiber, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. We bring in Brian Munson of Husker Online, part of the On3 network. Brian, of course, down in Texas, was at the All-American Bowl kind of pre-week practices, the games being played, of course, on Saturday. 3 Husker commits in this game. Brian, first of all, how are you? Second of all, how is the Alamo Dome for football? I think of it as a basketball arena. Does it still work for football?
Happy New Year, man. Yeah, no, it works for football. Actually, they had a couple of the upper sections kind of closed off. I don't think they typically get the type of attendance that they to kind of fill the upper deck of the Alamo Dome. But it brought back memories. The first time I went there was to watch Ndamukong Suh and Marlon Lucky and Philip Dillard and Craig Roark and all those guys. And I think that was the same year that Deshaun Jackson decided to try to take flight from the 5-yard line and kind of came up just about a half yard short. Dude, that guy was in the air for, it seemed like 5 seconds. And I think he was really just tearing the game apart, honestly. But no, it's still a wonderful venue. They've done some tremendous things to kind of keep that venue up. It's in a wonderful part of San Antonio too. The location can't be beat. And no, it was a really well run practice yesterday.
Would that have been that Nebraska-Michigan Alamo Bowl that you're referencing?
So that was, I was not at that game. I remember watching that game with former Husker Byron Bennett, however, and but no, this was the U.S. Army All-American game back in high school. So like that last year of those guys, so like before they all came to Lincoln, like the very next week with, Dillard and those guys, they were all down in San Antonio. Ndamukong hadn't committed yet. And I think that there was a defensive back that ended up going to Oklahoma, Reggie Smith, I think is who it was. And he and those guys were still, it was just an amazing kind of thing. Nebraska, it was Bill Callahan era. They had like 7 guys in the U.S. Army All-American game. And really 3 was a pretty big number, by comparison to other teams that have their commitments there as well this week.
And 3 for Nebraska again. I mean, you mentioned the class that you saw the first time. That was a great class for Nebraska. Some great performances, obviously, from Sue Lucky and Dillard. Those guys, with one name. Will we know Nelson, Bricks, and Pyle by one name when they're done? What did you see and hear from those guys down there in your time in San Antonio?
Yeah, man, I tell you what, they started out fast yesterday because I had some great pictures of this too. I just didn't have the really great angles, but the 3 of them, there's a couple of formations they have where Nelson's kind of lined up as a wing back, and right off of, Bricks' hip at right tackle and then to Bricks' inside at right guard is Gibson Pyle. So you get all 3 of those guys like in the same shot. I felt like, just so you know, so Grant Bricks did a great interview, and I just put up a story on it, and I'll kind of give you a little bit of a summary of it. He's having to learn on the fly. And I think Carter Nelson, his interview is going to be very similar to that. You have 2 guys that played, not necessarily the highest levels of football based on population or based on, wherever their high school is at. It doesn't really matter. It's like, so Carter comes out of, not even playing 11-man and not having ever blocked somebody before. And essentially now they're running an offense that doesn't even target the tight end in San Antonio. So he's being leaned on to learn how to block. And he said, like, look, I'm here, eyes open, eyes wide open. I want to see, and I want to learn, how I'm supposed to do this at the next level. This is his first opportunity to block isn't against foes or opponents for Ainsworth. It's at the U.S., the All-American Bowl in San Antonio. And Grant Bricks was very similar. He's like, look, we run wing tee, wishbone, straight ahead, run the ball, run heavy kind of offense. And he said, we don't do a lot of pass pro, and we don't do any zone blocking. It's usually man on man, heads up, and we just drive guys off the football. So it's very much, just kind of get onto a guy and drive him into the ground. And he's having to move a lot laterally now and do some zone blocking. And those are, and there's a lot of technique here that he's having to pick up, like on the fly. Like he said it best. He's like, I'm learning and I'm implementing all at the same time. So those two guys are, and they're not swimming in it by any means. They are really having a chance to kind of pick this thing up, get this really nice experience under their belt before they make it to Nebraska. So they're getting a little glimpse of what their future is going to be like. Look, the Big Ten, probably a little bit more closer to the NFL than people ever thought it was, based on, the national championship picture and the teams that are competing. And I think people can appreciate that now when I say, these guys are getting a chance now to play against these All-American players, and they're getting this tremendous opportunity to kind of get up to speed and understand speed of the game, not just being the best player on the football field anytime I just walk off the bus. Everybody else on the football field is just as talented as they are. And I think that's been a huge thing for them. And they've been able to go out there and just physically take over a game because of their athleticism, their size, and now all of a sudden technique matters. And you're having to do things like Carter Nelson explained, I'm catching footballs from guys that are throwing it way harder with a lot more revs on it than I've ever seen before. And it's one of those huge adjustments for him, just like hand placement and footwork, it is for Grant Bricks. And I think things are still, for Gibson Pyle, I think that there's still an acclimation to the speed and the size and the physicality, of playing in the phone booth of inside linemen. But that's something, that he transitioned to, playing 6A football in Houston. So a little bit closer in terms of competition level, just because of, they're kind of dialing it up a notch, playing inner city Houston kids, but not necessarily Ainsworth and Logan, Iowa. But I mean, still, despite all that, guys, Carter and Grant were getting huge kudos from all the people watching them. Their athleticism is very apparent, and it maybe hides some of these things, these growing pains that they're kind of going through this week. But the one thing that really stands out is just how quickly they are implementing that stuff and how athletic people are.
Brian, you see these three guys. You mentioned that picture, with Nelson at wing back and the two offensive linemen there on the right side of the line. I mean, they're playing in a game as teammates together for the first time. Do you think we see all three of those guys on the field in a game again in 2024, or is 2025 the most likely arrival for that trio?
I think it's 2025, unless you're talking about a game that lines up where all those guys are working through, their 4 redshirt games next year. And I talked to Gibson and I talked to Grant, and I think there will be some open competition, for each of them to kind of go in there, and try to win the spot and try to open up some eyes and try to really be competitive, and get up to speed very, very quickly. That being said, Nebraska had a pretty good offensive line haul the year before, number one, and I think the development has been dialed up a notch, since Matt Rule and his staff, have gotten to Lincoln. I do think that they are starting to appear to maybe over recruit some of the current roster. This is where you get guys like Pyle and like Grant Bricks, but I think that development side is better than what it was before under Mickey Joseph and Scott Frost. So it's really going to be interesting. I think that they want them to be ready as well as they can be. But I mean, Grant Bricks, one of the other things he said that he had to improve on, and one of the reasons why he said he decided he needed to get to Lincoln as quickly as possible, is he needs the nutritional side, to add weight. He needs to add size, and he needs to get to work in the weight room. He has got some absolute tree trunks for legs, for being a guy as tall as he is, and for being a guy that just says that he's a little light at 6'5", 295 pounds. He's the kind of guy that's going to cut 10 and put on 25 very, very quickly. So I don't think, though, still that you can really kind of count on any of those guys maybe really kind of stepping up next year. Maybe Bricks. I think they're trying to tell Powell to kind of be ready. I think that there might be an interior spot that's going to be up for grabs. I know that they're talking to Powell too about being ready to play center as well potentially. So it's possible, but I think unless you're lining it up on maybe one or two of the other guys, 4 games, redshirt games, I don't think you're going to see them normally on the field together next year.
We're talking with Brian Munson of Husker Online here on our Allo VIP line. Brian, elsewhere at the All-American Bowl game is some Nebraska targets, right? A lot of guys that Nebraska was interested in. I see Ryan Wingo, Gatlin Bair, Nathaniel Frazier kind of among that group. Were those guys legitimately interested in Nebraska? Did they just take, polite visits to Lincoln? Or do you think that maybe had Dylan Raiola changed his mind sooner, 1, 2, 3, any of those guys might have, made up their mind to come to Lincoln with him?
It's an interesting question. Gatlin Bair is still undecided. So if there was an influence there or a draw now that Raiola is no longer going to Georgia and he's going to Nebraska, and if Nebraska was really, I think, in that top 2 teams that maybe Bair was considering, but before he chose Boise State, he'd have an opportunity to kind of back off and reconsider things based on where he's at. I don't believe that Nebraska right now is part of his picture. That being said, I know that Ryan Wingo was a guy that Nebraska was reaching out to. I think there were several other players that Nebraska was reaching out to, like you had mentioned, kind of that 11th hour before signing day. And this is kind of post after maybe some understanding is there, for NIL and, all the other kind of things are already in place. And I think it gets just really difficult in that 11th hour to kind of go back on the things that you've already kind of set up. And the look, that's a long-term commitment because Wingo had flipped. But I mean, if you're talking about like a guy like Brandon Baker, that's been that's a longer-term commitment that he has had to Texas. So I do feel like Nebraska could have had some influence on some other guys if say Raiola backed off his commitment like at Halloween. That's possible. But I think with where he did it, it really was more about him kind of watering his own soul and knowing what the right thing was for him versus, I've been, playing the flute, and these guys are following me to Georgia, and now I can get those guys to follow me to Nebraska. I think it was really more about like he needed to do something for himself. And I know that he had kind of put all that stuff in place in Athens, but there wasn't a way to kind of do it very well for Nebraska based on what the timing of everything was.
Which makes sense. Speaking of timing, Brian, I want to throw this to you too here real quick, especially from the recruiting side that you cover. We were talking yesterday on the show about bowl season and everything that goes on, especially in a busy month of December into January. With bowl game prep and bowl games, you have the early signing day now in December and the transfer portal window from early December into early January. They're all going on at the same time. Is it an advantage at all for high school, players, commits to have that portal window open at the same time, as their early signing day? So coaches, might view those high school players as more of a, plug and play sort of option and not go get someone in the portal? Or would it be better to push the transfer window to after spring, give high school guys their own month and coaches their own month to focus on this high school class of commitments?
Yeah. Or you could actually move your high school signing day to like an August or a September. Right. I mean, you knock out 90+% of the guys that are going to go play D1 football by like the end of July. You do get into this very interesting flipping season, from about like the middle of November up to about Sunday. So you get like the last 3 or 4 weeks of where you're kind of seeing that happen. And I'm not saying that you couldn't necessarily see that like maybe through the month of August, like if you decided to do it like the Wednesday after Labor Day or something like that. Yeah, I think that there's some possibilities there that I think that you kind of touched on that I'm kind of feeling to gain relevance back to the bowl game and the bowl and all that good stuff. You do, I think, need to find a better way to get the portal transfers either, out after the bowl season, after the bowl game, make the window open a little bit later. The problem with that, I think, obviously, is that you're in this roster management kind of crunch, and you're kind of trying to make that 85 work. And you got, if you had an earlier signing day with the high school guys, and you got that out of the way, like in September or in August, and then you had a chance to kind of do your kind of exit interview and understand how, like, where people are, what they're kind of thinking and what they're planning on doing. You could still be very active, I think, in that kind of portal process as you're kind of getting into that January, February timeframe. I think by the time everything has to like happen and people are enrolling and school is starting, if you don't have that time frame there in that month of December, I think it just puts way too much pressure, I think, on the schools and on the players to kind of figure out where they're going to go. I think I do agree that something has got to happen. I don't have the right answer. I think that the NCAA though has really created a mess when it comes to this, just because of the diminished value of the overall bowl games in general.
The NCAA creating a mess? Say it ain't so, Brian.
I've not been a huge fan of much that they have done recently. I think that there's even more than that, that I'm just not much of a fan of. But I think that they wanted to slide everything left. They wanted to get fast with everything, and I think the whole transfer process is out of control in the first place, with no penalty and no immediate need, and nobody sitting out for a year, and I think that's a little bit out of control. But I think that this whole windows and opportunities and the bowl seasons being a mess, I think they absolutely have to take a look at something, and whether it's the windows or the signing day that gets adjusted, they've got to make some adjustments.
Last one for you real quick, Brian. Bills by 5, Bills by 10, Bills by 20.
Oh, I hope it's by 20 because my kicker cannot take a 5. I tell you what, I was a little bit surprised to see a -3, although I know Miami is really dinged up, and that's really good news. I think there's 3 different ways that the Bills can make it in. I'm going to go ahead and say Bills by 10. I will take your middle number, and I tell you what, you guys probably will catch me having not ever have slept still next week.
Hey, you know what? If it's after a Bills win, I'm sure you'll take it. I'm rooting for the Colts. Again, I think there's plenty of room for both our teams. Brian, I'm glad you had a good trip down to San Antonio. Glad you made it back. Thanks for making time for us today. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks for having me today. We'll see you.
There he is. Brian Munson joins us on our VIP line, brought to you by Outlet Fiber, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. You can use that same number, 402-464-5685, to call now for the shootout with Strick. $30, the Buffalo Wings and Rings on the line for you. This is going to be a fun one today. Stricky, I hope we can remain friends after this one. That's all I'm going to say.
All good.
402-464-5685. Give us a call now. Take on Strick in trivia. We play the game show to wrap up hour one next.
I see the future in our public school classrooms every day. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. I also see how critically important parent and community support is to our students' success. Support your public schools. Get involved. Form a business-school partnership or become a school volunteer. Great schools and great communities work hand in hand.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $24.62 per hour, which grows to $28.97 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $33.36 per hour, with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates, with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The Electrical Workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
James Enterprise Incorporated says many of our children and families may be forgotten unless we all get involved. Let's all take a moment to donate a toy, warm jackets, and food to our local donation centers or your favorite charity. Your help of a gift could make a huge difference in the life of a child at a very important time of the year. This special reminder brought to you by James Enterprise Incorporated. For all your hauling of rock, gravel, and materials, call them at 402-432-6740.
Problem gambling is not just a financial issue. It's an emotional problem with financial consequences. If your loved one is struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's 24-hour helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 402-476-2300.
At Fairway Meat Market, you're family, and as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. It's a new year, and Fairway has deals this week like 93% lean ground beef for just $4.99 per pound, USDA choice beef rump roast for $3.99 per pound, buy 2 8-ounce bacon wrapped turkey broils for $7, or buy 10, get 5 free on all natural boneless pork ribeye chops. Your new year starts at Fairway Meat Market in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
Why are New Year's resolutions always about getting to the gym more or dieting? We fail ourselves before the first month of the year is already over. Why not resolve to eat better, tastier foods in 2024? Look no further than Fuhrer's cheese spread. Stop eating your apples, vegetables, crackers, and chips plain. Give them some flavor. Fuhrer's cheese spread awakens your taste buds. Now that's how you start a new year. Find your container of Fuhrer's cheese spread today at your local grocery store.
The captain, Vershawn Jackson.
I used to be a weight guy. I used to love weight.
You've never been a weight guy.
That's a lie. Let me tell you something.
You've never been a weight guy.
I was in a 300-pound club.
No,
in
sir.
high school.
Yes.
No, sir. Are you kidding Yes. me? That 315 pounds would have sent him through the. He'd have been 6 feet under trying to figure out how to get up out that hole. That's how they you got ain't never been nowhere near that platform to get up there for lifter of the year. You. I don't want to be lifter of the year. I So want to be how the player of the year. You want to be a lifter of the year when you want to be the player of the year. Nobody care about weights.
It's time to play Shootout with Strick. Call now 464-5685 to take your shot against Erick Strickland. Shootout with Strick. Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Time to play the game.
That's right. We're playing the game. You can't see him, but he's here with us. Rico, say hello to people.
Hello, everyone.
There we go. Rico's up. It's
Bellevue West Connection. Dog.
Yes. So we have Dave on the Honda of Bling hotline ready to play the shootout here. Dave, Rico is going to serve as the lifeline for Strick. We'll also make him available to you for one question. Does that sound fair?
Well, yeah, I'll take all the help I can get.
All right. Well, we will give Strick his 4 questions first.
If I don't use it, do I get a bonus?
You do not get a bonus.
That's bull.
You get a nice high five, though.
Boo. Boo.
We're doing National Hockey League today.
I am zero help.
We haven't done this. I waited a whole year to do any hockey, Tricky.
This is the
But
worst.
we've done a lot of NBA, a lot of NFL recently. So we're doing NHL. This is going to be fun.
Your guys' lifeline is, I can't help you at all.
All right. This round of NHL Shootout comes your way here in 3, 2, and 1. He scored the most points of any Western Conference player, Connor McDavid or Nathan McKinnon?
McDavid.
It's McKinnon. They currently lead the Atlantic Division, Boston or Florida?
Florida.
It's Boston. They currently lead the Central Division, Winnipeg or Colorado?
Winnipeg.
It's Colorado. And they won last year's Stanley Cup Finals.
Rico.
Last year's Stanley Cup
last
Finals.
year's Stanley Cup Finals.
I feel like I
have
should
15
know this.
seconds to talk amongst yourself.
Yeah, I feel like I should know this. Do you remember at all who played?
I know it.
Okay.
Who is it?
Vegas.
Stricky with the Vegas pull. Nails it. Stricky. That's 2 points.
There you go.
At the buzzer. Good stuff.
There you go. I was gonna say when you said McDavid, I was gonna say the other because I think McDavid plays in the East, doesn't he?
No, he does play in the West.
Oh, see, I would have been right, but I would have been
wrong. All right, so that's 2 points for the Strick and Rico tag team. Dave, 2 to tie, 3 to win. You ready for your round?
I'm ready as I'm ever going to be.
All right, your round starts here in 3, 2, and 1. He scored the most points of any Eastern Conference player, Nikita Kucherov or Artemi Panarin?
Let's go with the second one.
It's Kucherov instead. They currently lead the Metropolitan Division, New York or Carolina?
New York.
It is New York. They currently lead the Pacific Division, Las Vegas or Vancouver?
Let's try Vancouver.
It's Las Vegas. And they lost last year's Stanley Cup Finals.
But can I consult with my friend?
Yes.
I think it was a team from Florida.
You want to say Florida?
I'll go with that.
Boom shakalaka. Finish him.
Give me a hell yeah.
Wow, freaking Rico. Get out of the booth.
The Florida Panthers lost to the Vegas Golden Knights, and Dave wins the NHL Shootout.
You're not a
Dave. You did it. You and Rico did
He's
it.
not a Thunderbird anymore. Get out.
I was a lifeline for both. I couldn't
No, help is
sandbag.
tricky.
I did help you. I helped you with your 2 points.
That makes up for that freebie that Strick got the other day on who's the winningest coach in Michigan football history.
Oh.
Fair enough. Dave, hold on the line. You get your $30 at Buffalo Wings and Rings. Stricky, I thought you had it.
Dang
I thought you had it.
Freaking Rico.
Out of nowhere.
Out of freaking nowhere.
And Dave got it in just under the
Just
wire, too.
right when the buzzer went off. He got lucky on that one.
He did.
But it was good. Good
It
stuff.
was.
That was good. Got us today.
We gotta bust it out every so often.
Yeah.
So we will not do NHL for a while again, unless something absolutely monumental happens. Here's the tiebreaker question, just for fun: how many hockey games have I attended? How many hockey
Does
games?
the Lincoln Stars count?
Is it a hockey game?
Yeah.
Okay, then it counts. How many hockey games have I attended
8
in my life? 8? 3.
Really?
3.
I was gonna say
all Omaha Maverick hockey games, in fact.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not been to the Stars, not been to the Lancers, not been to Tri-City. No NHL for me. Just 3 Mavs games.
Okay. Well, dang it. I thought maybe you'd been over there to see like Amon Green drop the puck, or, I thought maybe you would have snuck over there. So I was hoping.
I have not yet. So it's on my to-do list.
I got to do the puck job soon.
Yeah.
I think I need to do that.
Yeah. We know people.
Yeah.
We'll get that stuff. I will be there for that.
We'll make it happen.
We sure will. We'll make hour 2 of On the Block happen here in just a sec as well. We'll talk some NFL. We'll talk some NBA, maybe some more Huskers headlines. Plenty more as we get into hour 2 of On the Block. Austin Norman and Erick Strickland with you for another hour after this.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Are you tired of living in pain? It's time to take control. At Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, we're your one-stop shop for expert care in Lincoln. From broken bones to complex reconstruction, our skilled team will help you get back on track. Visit prairieortho.com today and discover why we're the trusted choice for thousands of patients. Don't let pain hold you back. Take the first step towards a better, pain-free life with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, where healing begins. Call 402-489-4700.
Are you looking for a new spot to relax and unwind? The Post, located on the south side of the Telegraph District on the corner of 20th and N Street, is perfect for a group hangout or a relaxing evening. The Post has plenty of exciting events open to the public, like Whiskey Wednesday and poker tournaments on Sundays. Looking for a spot for a private event? Ask them about their indoor patio. The Post, located at 20th and N Street in Lincoln.
A lot of work goes into making Nebraska, Nebraska. Keeping it green. Helping it thrive. Making it fun. Everything that goes into caring for our outdoors, from waters to wildlife, plays a big role in making Nebraska home. Learn how we help conserve our state's natural resources at outdoornebraska.org.
Paid for by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of local union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Against Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Against Sports at 48th and Vine.
James Enterprise Incorporated says many of our children and families may be forgotten unless we all get involved. Let's all take a moment to donate a toy, warm jackets, and food to our local donation centers or your favorite charity. Your help of a gift could make a huge difference in the life of a child at a very important time of the year. This special reminder brought to you by James Enterprise Incorporated. For all your hauling of rock, gravel, and materials, call them at 402-432-6740.
Why are New Year's resolutions always about getting to the gym more or dieting? We fail ourselves before the first month of the year is already over. Why not resolve to eat better, tastier foods in 2024? Look no further than Fuhrer's cheese spread. Stop eating your apples, vegetables, crackers, and chips plain. Give them some flavor. Fuhrer's cheese spread awakens your taste buds. Now that's how you start a new year. Find your container of Fuhrer's cheese spread today at your local grocery store. Integrated Life Choices has been inspiring opportunities for individuals with disabilities for more than 15 years in Lincoln and across Nebraska by offering a number of services. From group homes to independent living resources and job training, you'll find the support that allows people to live fulfilling lives. They're also hiring. If you're looking for a rewarding career supporting people with developmental disabilities, you can check out open positions along with learning more about services at ilc.net. Integrated Life Choices.
WWE Friday Night SmackDown returns to Lincoln, January 12th, 6:45 p.m. Pinnacle Bank Arena.
Let's throw down right now.
See Rey Mysterio, LA Knight, Bobby Lashley, The Street Profits, Charlotte Flair, Io Sky, Carlito, and more. It's WWE's Friday Night SmackDown in Lincoln, January 12th. Tickets start at $25 and on sale now. Ticketmaster.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $24.62 per hour, which grows to $28.97 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $33.36 per hour, with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates, with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Okay, it's time to sell the house. How do we even begin to choose from the hundreds of realtors in town?
Easy. We make a pros list.
You mean a pros and cons list?
No, just a pros list. We need someone with pro photography to showcase the house in the best possible way, pro marketing to make sure we get maximum exposure, pro negotiations so we know we get the best price.
This is one of those times where you already know the right answer, isn't it?
You know it is. Ben Bleicher and Professional Realty Group.
Contact Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's Home Services Ambassador, online at prg-ne.com.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Erick Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Hour 2 of the show. We could also call this Thirsty Thursday pregame if we wanted to.
Yeah.
I think
it's going down.
So, big thanks to our friends at the Mill, by the way, providing Stricky with the tea, getting that voice back
Got
on
the voice
track,
back on order.
right where it needs to be.
That's right.
Speaking of back on top, about your Thunderbirds, Stricky.
TBZs, the Thunderbirds Flock Squad, shout out to them. 2024 Holiday Tournament champs beat Central. And they beat them pretty good. Actually beat the brakes off of them a little bit. But shout out to them. Way to get it done, Flock Squad. We know you showed up and showed out. Shout out to Coach Klein as well as the T-Birds this year.
Congrats from the Lincoln Lutheran grad as well, but that's always a big deal. Winning those holiday tournaments just means something, right? Everyone else is on break. You're the main attraction, right? No school to worry about, just basketball. And it's a citywide tournament. That's a big deal to, essentially be kings of the city.
Well, it's just, so if you know, if you're an old schooler, and I think Lincoln, they used to do it at the
Pershing, right?
Pershing Auditorium. They used to do theirs. But if you know what it was like when I was playing in high school to go to the Civic Auditorium and get it in. I mean, it was some of the best basketball all day, and you just did not want to be in that daytime roster. You wanted to be the prime time after 4.
Everyone's off work.
You wanted to be in those games, and this is why you did not want to go into the consolation bracket. You wanted to be playing in primetime games because, boy, oh boy, did they get rowdy, and it was full pack, good basketball.
Do you remember your favorite game that you played in that tournament?
One of the ones was a really good game we played against South. Really, really battled them out and almost beat them. That was the year I think they won the state tournament with Badge. And then I do remember playing against, I want to say either Benson or Prep with Curtis Marshall with that crew. They were really good. But yeah, man, it was always fun. I mean, we would always get pretty close. I think we'd get to the semifinals. We never won it, but we would definitely be in the hunt. Sometimes, but there was just some teams that were really fun to play back then. It was
Who are the teams you loved playing against?
Obviously, at that time, it was going to be Benson whenever we played them because Andre Woolridge it was just a huge rivalry. I remember playing in the game, and a lot of people will remember this because it was probably the biggest game that anybody had attended. It was at Bellevue West, and it was literally standing room only. And when I tell you standing room, even like the fire department could have literally stopped the game because that's how many people were in there.
Dang.
Like, so the entrance at Bellevue West, you go through the main doors, and then you would come in through the gym. It was full in that whole hallway, so you couldn't get in anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It was full on that back hallway. Every bleacher to the top, to the other side was full. The baseline was full, and they left the doors open. So like people were standing outside watching the game because it was so intense and so packed. I think I had like 40 something that game, and Dre had like,
was that your lifetime high?
No, I actually, it was against Burke in a district game. I think I had like 48 against Burke, and we won that district game or the district tournament. But yeah, man, those were fun. Those were games. That was when high school gyms were like, packed to the hill. Oh yeah, man, we used to get it. It was intense.
What happened in Nebraska prep basketball? Like, what I want to say it's like bad, but I feel like we don't have the same environments, that same high level consistent. The Metro has it, right? It's gotten back up there, but I never experienced that. Stricky, like, I feel like Nebraska's missed that for a while.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I can't.
Is it club in AAU? Maybe
it could be just an over saturation of ball. Are there rivalries like we used to have back then? I think that's one of the things. I mean,
it's hard to be rivalries on that level without the high level talent, though,
well,
right?
And see, that's the thing. I mean, because I can tell you that it didn't matter if we was playing Bryan. There was a guy, there, another lefty named David Knight, who was a killer, Chris Black. And then we would play Central and Coach Barons. I think you might be familiar with him.
Yeah.
He was like their point guard, and they would have guys like I would say Walt Outlaw and some guys
Bo
like
Outlaw?
Walt Outlaw.
Bo Outlaw?
Walt Outlaw. It didn't matter where we played. If it was Northwest, if it was Lincoln. I mean, Lincoln East at the time was really strong. I mean, they would have guys like Matt Spethman and guys like that, Millard South, and it just didn't matter. It didn't matter if you were playing suburbs, inner city, or even coming down to Lincoln. Southeast was really good back then. So those teams were really intense. Then you play guys, even if you played Northwest or Northeast at the time, they would have like Ryan Elrod and guys like that. And Burke would have like Brian Cobbs. I mean, it was always a couple of guys on the other team that were really good that would give you some work that you'd have to do.
What about the football side? Best environment you played at in football?
Probably prep. Prep was always winning. We never really got to play Papillion back then. Papillion was really good, really good back then. We didn't ever get to play them, but prep was always one. Central was really good back then. That was back when Calvin Jones was running back. Almon was a running back. I didn't get to see Almon. I was too old, but Calvin Jones, and they always had like big linemen that you'd have to like, golly, as a linebacker, you have to freaking face their linemen. But those were intense, and then the rivalry with us in Bellevue East was always there, and then you would have teams like the Millard West Side. They were always good, just real physical. And then down here, Southeast was the beast down here that we had to deal with. So yeah, it was intense.
Who was the team that you knew you walked in the gym or they walked in yours, it was going to be a long night, like knockdown, drag out, physical fight on the basketball court? And I know you embrace that kind of stuff. So
it would have to be, for me, it would have to be Millard South because they had a guy like Matt Kelly and Devin Rowlands and guys like that were, so they were very physical. They were going to get after you. They had great coaching. So I knew it was gonna be a tough night that I'd have to work. So yeah, I would say Millard South.
Text line, comment section. Remember back to your own glory days. Obviously, Strick went on to bigger and better things, but if you're like me, your glory days stopped in high school. Give us your career highest points scored on a basketball court. Tell us who it was against. We'll shout you out, 402-464-5685. Strick, let's turn our attention to the NFL Pro Bowl. The rosters were released today. I want to start at the quarterback position. I think you see two completely different stories if you look at the two conferences. The AFC starting quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, then the two other guys, Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. I was a little surprised to see Mahomes in there. I think Josh Allen's had some better stats. I would have been shocked to see like a Trevor Lawrence, who has the Jags in pole position in the AFC South, be named there. But again, it's Tagovailoa, the starter, Jackson, and Mahomes. You look at the NFC, completely different story. Brock Purdy, the leading vote getter. He's the starting quarterback for the NFC, followed up by Dak Prescott, who's been on a burner basically all year. And resurgent Matthew Stafford. We talked about this a little bit, but the difference in quarterback play from the AFC to the NFC is striking anyways. But you see the two, sets of Pro Bowl quarterbacks, and it's, advantage AFC at the quarterback position.
Yeah, I would have to say that as well. But at the same time, those guys in the NFC are, there have been some inconsistencies with them. Obviously, you've seen some up and down roller coasters with both Brock Purdy as well as Dak Prescott. And then, I'm surprised. I'm just so surprised at Matt Stafford. But, that's where the fall off is.
But who else are you going to argue for? I mean, Hurts hasn't been what he was, but maybe
he's not the same. That's the thing.
Geno, no.
To be honest, I don't know if the numbers stack up for it, but I would have looked at Jared Goff and just what he's been able to do in getting those Lion teams.
I like that.
I would have looked at that. I would have thought that would have fit a little bit better than maybe some of the other decisions that came out of that.
Running back, I think, makes sense in the AFC. Mostert from the Dolphins, James Cook from the Bills, Derrick Henry from the Titans. Wide receiver. The starting wide receivers, Tyreek Hill, Amari Cooper. You have Keenan Allen from the Chargers, and then Jamar Chase. But, Strick, I don't think we talked about this yesterday because it happened right at the end of our show and going into old school. Tyreek Hill's $7 million Miami mansion caught on fire while he was at practice.
Yeah.
Can you imagine getting pulled out of practice to be told, hey, bro, your house is on fire?
Well, just think of all the things, the paraphernalia, not paraphernalia, but the
memorabilia.
Memorabilia. I said paraphernalia.
I knew what you meant, yeah.
That's no bueno.
No.
Maybe there was something. No, I'm just playing allegedly.
What else went up in smoke?
Right. The memorabilia and all of that's in there, and just the thing that you've accumulated, the memories, all of that. But you have children, because now it seems as if word has come out that it was a child that was playing with matches or playing with
a lighter of some sort.
So you have a child now, so you better watch out for your $7 million Lincoln crib and not losing out on everything because little Herbie's freaking out there playing with matches.
Give me a $700,000 Lincoln crib before I get to the $7 million crib. But the matches and the lighters are hidden away. And just in case he's listening, I am not going to spill the beans as to where they're at. But it sounds like everyone was okay. Thankfully, no person, no pets were harmed in this, just smoke and water damage. It's expensive enough. I mean, I'm sure there's insurance, right? You're not going to be dumb enough to buy a $7 million mansion, not have insurance. Well, but that's going to be a long process of, renovating.
You're going to have to move out. And like you say, some of those things are irreplaceable, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the main thing about it, too, is I would say there is definitely insurance, because I've lived in Florida and I know that they require insurance for everything. I mean, they basically, no matter where you live, you can be not in a floodplain or in a flood zone, and they're going to make you pay for it. So
someone else is in the floodplain, so paying insurance.
Definitely sure that he has whatever the insurance is necessary, because Florida's making you pay for it, no doubt.
That's funny. Tight end in the AFC. Two guys, Travis Kelce and David Njoku. Who do you think is the starting tight end?
To me, to be honest, I love what Njoku's doing. Like, Kelce he's always there, but he's not the same as what he would have been last year. Like,
right.
If he was putting up the same numbers that he was doing last year, maybe I would have said so, but Njoku looks like a man possessed. Like, he's like a matchup problem, and he's tough to stop all the way around. So, he's got great speed and just physicality, and he's starting to get his route running on play. Like, I really like Njoku.
I do too. He's had the best season of his career by far, and that connection with Joe Flacco has been pretty incredible over the last month or so. I'm going to air my grievance right now. Zaire Franklin, middle linebacker for the Colts, not a Pro Bowler. Leading the NFL in tackles for a fringe top 10 defense, stepped, his game up with Shaq Leonard not pulling up to standard. Bobby Okereke let go.
Let's stop it now. That's a bias. Bias.
Would you give the NFL's leading tackler a starting Pro Bowl nod?
That's a bias.
Roquan Smith, who? Patrick Queen, who? Both Ravens inside linebackers. Are you kidding me? Pick one.
Yeah,
pick one. Zaire Franklin.
I ain't mad at you. That's
where I'm at with it.
Maybe they're just mad at Colts ownership.
Could be.
Just try to stick it to them a little bit.
Could be. Let's move down the list to the NFC here. Christian McCaffrey starting running back for the NFC. DeAndre Swift, the Eagles, Kyron Williams there. The NFC wide receivers, fascinating bunch. CeeDee Lamb, one of the starting wide receivers.
He's been good this year.
AJ Brown has the numbers. The impact kind of Kelsey-ish though. Doesn't feel the same. You have Mike Evans, Strick, who has his 10th straight season of 1,000 receiving yards. Like Mike
That's
Evans
amazing.
is so incredibly consistent, still flies under the radar.
As long as he's healthy.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Puka Nacua.
I love it.
29 yards away from breaking the single season rookie record. Good for that young man.
I love it. He is a true testament of someone who's worked his butt off and who was prepared for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And who, when it was time to step in, filled the void and became him. And he's gonna get well taken care of for it. And I love those stories. Those stories to me mean so much. It hits home for me. And I'm glad to see that they recognized it.
Starting tight end is George Kittle for the NFC over Sam Laporta. That to me again feels kind of like the name recognition over what's actually been done this year,
and probably the success.
Right. The NFC offensive line, though, Strike, like the AFC offensive line is solid, but the NFC tackles Trent Williams, Lane Johnson, Penei Sewell, insane. Zach Martin, Chris Lindstrom, Landon Dickerson, the guards, Jason Kelsey, Frank Ragnow. My goodness, that is, we talk about the quarterbacks having the advantage in the AFC. The NFC Pro Bowl line might be the most insane collection of talent assembled.
Sick. And they're all well deserving because they're beasts at the craft. They're very good at what they do. I didn't know for sure if Jason Kelsey was going to even come back, but I'm glad to see that he did. He's phenomenal. But I think what they did, didn't they move Cam over to guard because of it? Because Cam is just, you can't really keep him down. Like Cam is really that good. His footwork, all that. I love the fact that they did that. He'll probably ultimately replace Kelsey when he leaves. But
who knows when that'll be?
Who knows? We'll see.
Let's go to the text line. Got a lot of good stuff here, Strick. Claytonia John asks, Strick, do you remember when Andre Rison's mansion caught on fire?
I do, but that was a different circumstance. That was a left eye situation, literally by name.
Right.
So, yeah, that was a friction in the house. That means not happy. She wasn't wife, but not happy woman. Troubling household.
Right.
Literally by fire. So
literally.
If it's friction in the house and the friction is being, stricken together, it creates fire. That's what was going on in that situation. I do remember that.
Those sticks and stones got to work.
My gosh.
We got some ballers on the text line here. Stricky. We asked for the best performances, best games they remember. 3687 says 1981 Ron Kellogg in Northwest was ranked number 2. They beat us at Lincoln East with Mark Grabow 82-81. Kellogg had 28. Grabow had 32. The doors at East were closed at halftime of the JV game for the varsity game. I assume that's Ron Kellogg's dad, Ron Kellogg Jr., former Nebraska quarterback. I assume so.
I think so. Yeah.
Sean says Lincoln East class of 93, 42 points in the highly competitive East Intramural League under Rudy Storr.
Okay, well, go get it. That was around my time. I see you. It was just after I'd left high school, but I see you.
We have 9657 saying best was 10 points versus West Point Central Catholic. Not much, but it was a tight game between two teams that made the state finals that year. My role was defender and rebounder, so 10 was great for me. 9657, where'd you go to high school? What was that rivalry? How tight was it? Then Scott from Bancroft said 25 points, senior night, final home game of Bancroft Rosalie, but they lost to Waterloo in overtime. That's tough.
That
to score
hurts.
a career high 25,
Yeah.
but to lose in overtime, like that's the good and the bad, the mixed bag. Yikes.
That hurts. Yeah, sad to hear that. But I've had many moments where I went nuts and came up short. So I'm in the boat with you, Bancroft.
Do you remember your senior night?
I don't. Not in high school, but in college. I do.
Yeah, walk us through college then.
No, it was very emotional. I mean, it was at the Devaney, mom and dad were there, stepmom was there, and to know that it was going to be, maybe a final moment of not being able to grace the floor again, it was really emotional. I teared up, I cried. Yeah, it's good, but it was good. It was good. It was it was difficult. I mean, it goes to show you how fast it goes. So take advantage. I don't care what the moment is for you, whether it's playing ball or it's with loved ones or it's a job situation. I mean, there's a lot of frustration that comes with it. It's not just in sports, there's frustration that comes with different things in life.
Mm-hmm.
But learn the lessons, take something from it, always glean something out of it, and then figure out to make the best out of every moment, because those moments are not promised, they're not given. And seize the day. Carpe diem.
Amen to that. One guy who sees the day, Riley W. on the text line, Stricky, 57 on 14 threes in a Cornhusker State game.
Yeah, that's getting it done.
Those
were always fun. Cornhusker State games where, people will collectively come across the country and bring teams in.
Mm-hmm.
I never really got to play in one. I think they used to play them in Hastings or something like that. And I was always like doing something or busy or wasn't able to do it. But I heard there was some really intense rivalry. I know a guy named, one of our former players, T. Buchanan and his teams, and Derek Vick and those guys used to always go out there, former Husker guys, and they would pretty much dominate their class a lot of the times. And then guys, some guys out of Omaha would also come out and play. I used to know guys that would go do it.
Again, keep your best high school basketball performances coming on the text line 402-464-5685. We have 3195 saying they were one steal away from a quadruple double.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's dope.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever gotten close to that. I've gotten real close to a triple double. I think I missed it with like 9 rebounds or something.
The rebounds?
Somebody,
the assists are on other people, but the rebounds, tricky. That's your thing.
I think somebody should have just I should have did a freaking what's his name?
I know for the Cavs.
No. To the combo.
Oh, the Giannis. Yeah.
Where he just kind of tossed it up at the rim and got it. You remember when he did that?
Yes, I think there was someone else.
Somebody just kind of to the combo, like kind of.
Ricky Davis did it too.
Ricky Davis.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yes. Yeah, I should have just did that, man. Got me a little triple double.
Have someone tap it out to you.
Yeah, man,
they don't get credit for it.
Love your boy, man. Shoot, those are rare moments.
I know. 3591 says he was a wrestler, but dropped 28 points in the Dorchester alumni game. Not bad for a wrestler.
Not bad.
And Ben was a 95 or 9657 says he did score 40 in a game on his cousin's team in the alumni tournament. So
yeah, that's dope.
That'll do.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Again, ballers on the text line. Let us know if you're proud of your high school accomplishments. We will shout you out here on air throughout the last half an hour of the show. We'll take a break and we'll keep talking some hoops on the other side. The Oklahoma City Thunder. Have they arrived? Is there more in the tank for them? Do they make a trade? Do they stay the course? Kawhi Leonard got a technical for saying 2 words to an official. What did he say? Did he say something magic? We'll get into that and plenty more as we continue on the block.
At Fairway Meat Market, you're family, and as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. It's a new year, and Fairway has deals this week like 93% lean ground beef for just $4.99 per pound, USDA choice beef rump roast for $3.99 per pound, buy 2 8-ounce bacon-wrapped turkey broils for $7, or buy 10, get 5 free on all-natural boneless pork ribeye chops. Your new year starts at Fairway Meat Market in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
The Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see some areas of fog. Otherwise, cloudy skies are expected for today. We'll see higher on 35. Tonight, mainly cloudy skies with the low around 25. And tomorrow, mainly cloudy skies will continue throughout the day. We'll see a high around 37. I'm meteorologist Kyle Clucker for 93.7 The Ticket. and theticketfm.com.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of local union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Today's agenda includes office meetings this morning, followed by a client lunch, then back to the office for another meeting, and ending the day with a presentation at a client's office. When you are on the go, you need an office phone that goes with you. At Hamilton, our business phone systems make it easy to sync your office phone features to your cell phone for quick and seamless call handling, no matter where you work. If your current office phone can't do this, you need better. Hire your local experts. Hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Okay, it's time to sell the house. How do we even begin to choose from the hundreds of realtors in town?
Easy. We make a pros list.
You mean a pros and cons list?
No, just a pros list. We need someone with pro photography to showcase the house in the best possible way, pro marketing to make sure we get maximum exposure, pro negotiations so we know we get the best price.
This is one of those times where you already know the right answer, isn't it?
You know it is. Ben Bleicher and Professional Realty Group.
Contact Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's Home Services Ambassador. Online at prg-ne.com.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $24.62 per hour, which grows to $28.97 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $33.36 per hour, with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates, with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
It's a playoff rematch this weekend as the Lincoln Stars take on the Waterloo Blackhawks at the Icebox. Join us on Friday and Saturday night as the Stars ring in the new year with a Western Conference clash. Friday's game gets started at 7:05 and the puck drops at 6:05 on Saturday. Secure your tickets for the Stars versus the Blackhawks now at LincolnStars.com.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back on the block. Austin Norman and Erick Strickland with you for another half an hour here. We're with you 2 to 4 weekdays. Thanks to Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul for sponsoring our show. They're open today, tomorrow, through the weekend at 29th and Pine Lake. Before we dive into the NBA, we've got Aaron on the text line saying, hey guys, I had 21 points in the second half against Clarkson my senior year, 6 of 7 on threes, 3 of 3 from the foul line. My one miss was a blocked shot. How are you getting a 3 blocked, Aaron? Come on, man. You're 6 of 6 and you get 1 blocked? Get space.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't even know what to say about that one.
What do you
say?
If you had to guess, what do you think my high school career high was?
15.
I got 19 on 7 and 9.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Again, our offense was pretty democratic, I think is the way I'll say it. I gave everyone on that team a bucket in summer ball, but we had a lot of guys whose best skill was offense. Where here's this question too: what position did I play? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
3.
I was 3.5 or 4 Granted, playing Class C1 basketball, I can get away with it. But yeah, starting at 3, I was kind of that glue guy. So
that's pretty good, though.
I'll take it.
Glue guy, 19.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah.
So,
heck yeah.
We have 0778 saying February of 1990, Superior beat Fairbury on the road. I had 14-10, but my teammate Doug had 42-20.
Jeez.
42-20.
Go get it.
That's impressive.
That is going and get it.
It sure is. Keep those responses coming. Again, the best games you ever played in your high school career. We turn our attention, though, just a handful of hours down south to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Strick, the Thunder are here. They've arrived. They're here. I mean, you think of them back in the early 2010s going up against LeBron and the Heatles in the finals, KD, Russ, Harden, Ibaka, that whole crew. And then the Thunder tore it all down, right?
Yeah.
Those guys start leaving one by one. They can't pay Harden. They keep Durant and Westbrook and Ibaka around. Then Durant leaves. Ibaka goes to Toronto, wins a title. It's just Russ. They ship him out to Houston later. It's been a long process for the Thunder to get back to where they're at. That they trade for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Mm-hmm.
They pick him up. That's been huge. But outside of that, Strick, it's been an incredible job drafting by GM Sam Presti. The Thunder, all they did was acquire picks. A lot of expiring contracts to get those picks as well. They have kind of wandered in the wilderness for so long. It's, number one, cool to see them have success. And number two, cool to see them have success with so much homegrown talent.
Man, I mean, they've got picks like up till, I think, 17 first-round picks.
In like 7 or 8 years.
Yes. Like, there's so much that they can do, but it's like to a point right now, Austin, like, why would you? Like, things right now are so good. Why would you? Like, you literally can, you're so set in a small market team with a young core of players that you can literally assess them, right? Sign your 2 best when they're qualifying offers and their offers come up or their bird rights, all of that stuff hits. You can sign your 2 best players and still go out and find others, or you don't have to do nothing until you really want to. And then you don't really have to, because you can just go out and draft and bring another young core in. If you don't like what you see, you've got capital.
Right.
You can move that guy. Oh my God, you have so many options. Shout out to their organization and their GM and their ownership. And they've done it right, to me. Better than anybody. They've done it right. They took advantage of having an overhaul of like superstar talent and able to move them without getting hit hard like other teams have now been hit. Like, you look at the Suns right now, Austin. The Suns are dead. If this doesn't work, this plan that they had, first of all, I think it kills Kevin Durant's legacy.
His legacy was on life support already anyways, but this might be the final nail.
Because you went and got it, wasn't able to do it in OKC. You went and got it, couldn't stay, but we understand why. It was really a Draymond Green, another situation with Poole, similar to Poole. He goes, tries to make it happen, and does it on his own in Brooklyn. That fails miserably.
Never got off the ground.
You killed Brooklyn in their situation. Come over here, ask for what you asked, and you get what you asked for. Bradley Beal, Book, all of that, able to get rid of
Ayton gone.
And now you're unstuck because you have no draft capital, I think, for the next 3-4 years. You're stuck.
No draft capital, no bench, really. No, even they haven't even had all 3 guys healthy and available for more than a few games this year.
Yeah.
So the experiment, again, has failed. And you look at, Kevin Durant's teams, young with Russ and Harden and Ibaka, you throw him into the mix. Young Serge Ibaka slept on. He was legit. Golden State, you had the big 3 with him, big 4 again. Maybe KD needs 4 stars to make it work, because 3 hasn't done the trick. With Harden and Kyrie up in Brooklyn, not enough. Maybe if Ben Simmons had stepped up, that would have been better, but Ben Simmons' career's AWOL.
Think of what Brooklyn unloaded. Some of these guys now are freaking doing their thing. Look at Jared Allen. They had him. And he's over in Cleveland balling out. I mean, I don't, man, listen, I don't get it. You know, I guess they're going, a lot of guys are chasing the now instead of allowing it to grow and develop, but it's not working.
And to that point, OKC allowing it to grow and develop, a lot of people are saying make a trade, right? You know, use those assets to go get a star player. But Strick, they have the best offense in the West
They're
right
in the
now.
top 10 in a few of them. Go ahead.
Yeah, and if in more than a handful of
Defense.
categories, they are fine.
They don't need nothing.
Integrating someone like that, a star midseason with his own demands into a culture that seems like it's rock solid, don't mess with it. Ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Not broke, don't fix it. And you're seeing a star emerge in Chet Holmgren as well. Shea Gillis is Alexander is him. He is him. You don't even really need Josh Giddey. You like him. You like him, but it's not something that you really need. They've got so many complementary players to work around those guys that do and understand and facilitate within their roles. Don't mess with it. Leave it alone. You're freaking you're right behind the number one game out of the West.
And that's Minnesota.
Leave it alone, bro.
I want to go up and down this roster because there are a lot of interesting pieces. Davis Bertans has kind of bounced around the league. I like him as a floor stretching, big veteran type of guy. Lou Dort out of Arizona State, the Dortcher Chamber, great defense, had a big game in the playoffs or late in the regular season last year, shooting the ball. You mentioned Giddey. We'll see what happens with him. Isaiah Joe has been fun from time to time. Trey Mann has played a pretty good role. Cason Wallace, the rookie from Kentucky. I really like Cason Wallace. You have two Jalen Williamses, both of whom are playing their roles. You have Kenrich Williams kind of as the veteran, but it's the Shea Gilgeous-Alexander show. It's the Chet Holmgren show. Strick, which is more likely? Shea Gilgeous-Alexander wins MVP or Chet Holmgren wins Rookie of the Year?
Ooh.
They both have great cases right now.
Both got great cases. And I don't know. They're definitely not going to let both of them win it.
Imagine, though. Well, if OKC gets a top 3 seed in the West, they just might.
They could. Who else would be comparable in the Rookie of the Year for you? Who's your thoughts?
It's pretty much Chet and Wemby at this point, would be my guess.
My thought is it's political. They would give it to Wemby just on, I think Chet's more deserving.
How much better does Chet have to be to overcome the politics?
I just think they have to continue to win. But I think even in that, they would try to defer it out, and because they want to raise Wemby up. Look, say what you will about the NBA, it's very political, and it's political for a reason. It's political because they have to try to gain ratings in a losing rating, time frame. You're losing ratings. You're losing. You're in negotiations of a TV deal. You've got all these other things. There's no one raving and riling over Chet Holmgren. Then you bring Bol down there. Now you've got another Twin Tower situation. They're going to try to use, these dynamics to raise them up so that they can try to get that rating, people wanting to see, people wanting to be a part of and experience it again. That's what they're going to be trying to do. And that's why I think, unfortunately, Chet Holmgren is going to be the one who loses out in it.
Which is too bad because he was hurt last year, has done a fantastic job in his first extended action. And even if it, to some degree, makes sense for the NBA to play that politics game, right? Wemby's the flash, he's the sizzle. I almost wonder, Strick, if that's chasing a short-term game instead of a long-term one. If they allow stars to bud naturally, I think, if Chet Holmgren has better stats and has better team success, he deserves it.
I agree.
And I think it might be better for the league's credibility to not try and shoehorn Wemby into that role if he doesn't deserve it, because then you take a credibility knock, which is what you can't afford right now.
Especially with the way I absolutely agree. And that's the hand that they're dealt right now. And that's the one that they're going to have to weigh in the balance. And it's going to come down to it, and we're going to see it unfold right before our eyes.
A couple more kind of funny NBA things to throw out here before we get you set up for old school with the crossover. Kawhi Leonard got teed up for the first time this year, 5th time in his career. seems a little high for a robot like Kawhi Leonard. But Strick, I showed you this video, and your reaction was, "What did he do?"
Have you ever heard him laugh? To me, he's got the funniest laugh on earth to me. But anyway, I thought it was whack, and this is the part that I can't stand about. Being a former referee, I can't stand sensitive referees.
You can't be just paper thin and be a ref, right?
You can't do it, especially at that level. Mm-hmm. And this goes to show, I went through the whole process and everything, and I went to G League training and all of that. But I tell you what, bro, when I saw the politics of it, it irked me so bad that I didn't even want to do it no more. Even at the collegiate level, I was like, ugh. And so, because I've seen games and I understand the game from a multi-pronged level. I understood it from a coach perspective. So knowing how to deal with coaches and interact with them, mm-hmm. and the understanding of their psyche in situation, the emotions that come forth in situation. Then I understand it from a player perspective. I understand the emotions of a game when a player is engaging in a one-on-one battle, is frustrated because of certain things. I can understand where that comes from, so I can have a discussion with him and say, hey, man, I understand, I see you, but listen, you can't do that. Mm-hmm. And really get rapport with them. And then I understand it because then I studied it from a referee. Like, that was the part that I was missing, getting to see it from their perspective, and now I see it. Then there's things that you put whistles on. There's things that you pass on because it doesn't fit. And technicals in certain times and place, they just don't fit. That didn't fit. And I hate that. You can have a discussion with him. You can have a talk with him. But that didn't fit at all. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He got bumped. You can understand the emotion of the moment and pass on that.
He didn't make a big show of it. He put his hands up and just said, come on.
That wasn't as egregious as Joey Crawford teeing up freaking Tim Duncan. It wasn't as bad as that, but it's still bad.
That's an all-timer.
Yeah, that was an all-timer, but it's still bad.
We'll throw this out there to you too. Cam Thomas of the Brooklyn Nets, right? You mentioned KD tanking what Brooklyn was trying to do. Cam Thomas has now missed 20 straight shots.
Wow.
20 straight shots for a dude, Strick, whose one job is put the ball in the basket. Cam Thomas came into the league from LSU, NBA ready bag. His job's going to be to score. Cam Thomas puts him up. But if you've missed 20 in a row, don't you try passing once?
I think you try passing or going to the rack, getting to the free throw line. That's the key is if you're struggling from perimeter, and what that does is it creates like a little inner tension in you. Like, you start trying to guide it instead of shoot it. Mm-hmm. You start trying to sometimes you'll hold the ball a little bit longer, so you'll start shooting on the way down as opposed to on the way up. So you want to get to the free throw line so you can freaking figure out what that stroke is. Mm-hmm. You want to get in the gym too and figure out, you want to get on the film and figure out what are you doing are you fading? Are you leaning back? Are you, figure out how you get to more of an upright or going towards the basket a little bit more so that you can finish. Are you pulling the string? Sometimes what Keisei Tamanaga does,
right?
He gets in there. He could probably draw more fouls, but he starts doing that pull, that string pull, and follow through. Follow through with that thing. So you can figure those things out. But that's 20 straight that's difficult to do.
And of course, if you're going to score, at that level, you have to believe the next one's going down. And Cam Thomas has, taken and made a lot of tough shots, tougher than I assume he's missing. As you look back at all the guys you played with in your college and NBA careers, who's the guy that's most likely to go 0 for 20, but keep getting him up there?
Ooh. In what?
Anyone that you played with that was just that gunner that is 0 for 20
in the league?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a tough one. But I would say there was a guy in Vancouver by the name of Michael Dickerson.
Okay.
Like Michael Dick, he played at Arizona. Michael Dickerson, he played with Bibby and all them, and they ended up playing in the NBA together. He would get him up. He didn't care. Another one would be like Desmond Mason, who played at Oklahoma State. Desmond would get him up, and he didn't care.
What's it like playing with a guy like that?
Antoine Walker.
Twan would do it?
Twan, hey, Twan did not care. Twan is getting them in.
Getting them up, getting them in?
He's getting them up, getting them in. Yeah, Twan is definitely one as well.
Were those the guys you passed the ball to and you're like, why'd I do that? I better start heading back to play defense now?
So Twan, why we were successful is because Twan changed that mentality, toned it down. Like he still was doing it, but he toned it down.
Gotcha.
So because of that, that's why we were able to be successful. Paul is one of the most efficient Paul Pierce, one of the most efficient scorers I played with. Like where he knew where he wanted to get to. He had that good slow man fake. Everything to him looked like it was something, he was going to do or shoot, or everything he did had some purpose to it. And he could get to wherever he wanted to, anytime he wanted to. And it didn't matter where you were. He was going to still get it off and still make it.
That's incredible. He's Strick. I'm Austin. This is On the Block. We're with you for another 15 minutes or so here. Got Thirsty Thursday coming up with Kevin Meyer of Meyer's Cork and Bottle. We'll put a bow on this show of On the Block. Get you set up for old school here in just a minute.
James Enterprise Incorporated says many of our children and families may be forgotten unless we all get involved. Let's all take a moment to donate a toy, warm jackets, and food to our local donation centers or your favorite charity. Your help of a gift could make a huge difference in the life of a child at a very important time of the year. This special reminder brought to you by James Enterprise Incorporated. For all your hauling of rock, gravel, and materials, call them at 402-432-6740.
It's a playoff rematch this weekend as the Lincoln Stars take on the Waterloo Blackhawks at the Icebox. Join us on Friday and Saturday night as the Stars ring in the new year with a Western Conference clash. Friday's game gets started at 7:05 and the puck drops at 6:05 on Saturday. Secure your tickets for the Stars versus the Blackhawks now at LincolnStars.com.
On meat and more this holiday season at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's special through January 2nd is spend $40, get a free 14-ounce ribeye, limit of 3. Also, get 15% off wine and spirits only at the North Lincoln location. Don't forget their 2 new locations, now open at 30th and Yankee Hill in Lincoln and 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of local union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Where will your path take you, traveler? To seek fortune in a new career? Or on a journey to distant lands for a well-deserved vacation? Wherever you go, one distraction could spell disaster. You can change your fate, adventurer. Don't drive distracted. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC. We'd like to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And to show our appreciation, Koppel is offering some huge holiday discounts from now until January 2nd. On select new Chevrolet vehicles, we are offering $8,000 off MSRP or 1.9% financing. Yes, you heard right. That's $8,000 off or 1.9% financing on select new Chevrolets. We also have some huge discounts on our new GMC inventory, so stop on in or check us out online at koppelcars.com. Includes finance, trade, and Costco bonus with roof credit. Stock number C2999464.
Why are New Year's resolutions always about getting to the gym more or dieting? We fail ourselves before the first month of the year is already over. Why not resolve to eat better, tastier foods in 2024? Look no further than Fuhrer's Cheese Spread. Stop eating your apples, vegetables, crackers, and chips plain. Give them some flavor. Fuhrer's Cheese Spread awakens your taste buds. Now that's how you start a new year. Find your container of Fuhrer's Cheese Spread today at your local grocery store.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play it against sports at 48th and Vine.
Okay, it's time to sell the house. How do we even begin to choose from the hundreds of realtors in town?
Easy. We make a pros list.
You mean a pros and cons list?
No, just a pros list. We need someone with pro photography to showcase the house in the best possible way, pro marketing to make sure we get maximum exposure, pro negotiations so we know we get the best price.
This is one of those times where you already know the right answer, isn't it?
You know it is. Ben Bleicher and Professional Realty Group.
Contact Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's Home Services Ambassador. Online at prg-ne.com.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
If you're not going to Memorial Stadium for a home game and don't have any travel plans for away games, there's a great place in Omaha to catch the action, the Inner Rail Food Hall. There's plenty of space. The Backstretch Bar has amazing game specials on game days. $15 Blue Moon and Bud Light pitchers, $6 margaritas, and $6 Moscow mules. And if you're hungry, take in some of their great options from their game day pizza specials. Do football game day right in the Inner Rail Food Hall in Exarban Village in Omaha.
WWE Friday Night SmackDown returns to Lincoln, January 12th, 6:45 p.m. Pinnacle Bank Arena.
Let's throw down right now.
See Rey Mysterio, LA Knight, Bobby Lashley, The Street Profits, Charlotte Flair, Io Sky, Carlito, and more. It's WWE's Friday Night SmackDown in Lincoln, January 12th. Tickets start at $25 and on sale now. Ticketmaster.
A lot of work goes into making Nebraska, Nebraska. Keeping it green. Helping it thrive. Making it fun. Everything that goes into caring for our outdoors, from waters to wildlife, plays a big role in making Nebraska home. Learn how we help conserve our state's natural resources at outdoornebraska.org.
Paid for by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back here on the block one final time. Austin Norman, Erick Strickland, joined now by DP. We started the show off with some Husker basketball. Let's end the show with some Husker basketball. Huskers win 86-70 over Indiana last night. Some stats from Ben Stevens on Twitter. Last time Nebraska started 12-2, the 2010-2011 season. Ben a minute. Last time they started 2-1 in the Big Ten, 2017-18. And then they snapped a couple streaks. The last time they beat Indiana before last night, 2019. Last time they beat Michigan State, 2016, all before this season. Strick, I'll throw it to you first, and then DP. We had a little bit of this conversation on Old School. Just how significant a win was it for Nebraska over Indiana last night?
I think it's significant in multiple ways. And for me, it goes back to what I always going to say. And you guys are going to say, gosh, darn it, Stricky. You always say that. You're always talking about that. But it's a point that I have to hone in on, even if they're listening or they're not listening. And it's this: take care of home. It's as simple as that. I'll say it in football and I'll say it in basketball. Take care of home. Do what you can do at home to make sure that everyone that comes in this building walks out limping. Like there's a comedy show that says, or there's a movie out there. I think it's called Harlem Nights. Mm-hmm. He says you're gonna walk over, but you're limping back. You're limping back.
You're limping back.
Anytime you show up,
that's the clumps. That's the clumps.
Was it the clumps?
That's the clumps.
That's what it is.
That's the clumps.
Grandma.
He's like, I ain't no easy win.
That's what I'm saying.
You're walking over. You're limping back. You're limping back.
That's the way the mentality. There's no one that should just be able to come in. Like there's another comedy show, and you guys are all that probably listen. If all watched Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle has a skit where he's playing like he is Rick James. Mm-hmm. And he goes over to Eddie Murphy's house, mm-hmm. and he's like, bump your couch, Eddie Murphy. Mm-hmm. Darkness. And he's kicking his dirty shit. I don't care about your white couch.
I don't care about your couch.
Yo, people, You don't ever want somebody to get so comfortable that they feel they can come in your house and eat your cereal, sit on your couch, walk in with their shoes dirty. You don't ever want them to feel that comfortable. And that's what I feel about when people come in your house. Handle business so that everybody that comes in here is like, gosh dang it. And because I can tell you this, DP, because I played against point guards that at the beginning of the game, they would be like, dang, come on, Strick. Now I'm tired.
It's too early for this.
You know what I'm saying?
It's too early for this, man. Why are you pulling my shirt?
Just chill out tonight.
First
Because
series,
I know I'm
man.
gonna
You pulling
hide
my
them.
shirt. You pulling my shirt. First series. I got all pretty. I got all tucked in, right?
That's just the way I feel.
I was a jerk. I was that dude. My rule was, even in high school, you get to the circle for jump.
Yeah.
And I'm standing next to the opposing point guard. And it took them a minute to figure it out. But I would untie their shoe. When we get foot by foot, I just lean down, pull it.
Mm-hmm.
And the official was like,
come on.
What are you doing?
But it made him get out of his space, out of his preparation, pull over, exhale, gotta kneel down this.
Wanna
Right?
cuss you out,
Right?
yeah.
We used to say from a coaching standpoint, thank you for inviting us to your party. We appreciate you buying really good food and putting beverage on the table. We appreciate you inviting your girlfriend and her friends to your party. But we taking all that. We coming in here, we taking all that. And the defense to that was fight as though you're defending everything.
Mm-hmm.
And some of that's been missing. Now, PPA is a really nice house. It's a nice house in a nice neighborhood, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get great visitors. Like all the people that visit here, none of them poor. You're gonna broke, right? And the ones that are broke, you invited them to take advantage and show off what you had. But even then, you weren't able to take advantage of it. Last night was different. We said yesterday, and I brought it up, how big was this win? How big was this game? Because I said it was the biggest game in recent years. And by that, what Alston just said, we're talking about it's been since 2016-17 since they had beaten Michigan State and Indiana. Like, that's a big deal that this program has won 18 of 23 games.
Mm-hmm.
It's on an 18-5 run.
Mm-hmm.
Fred Hoiberg is on an 18-5 run.
Starting from last year.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's, as they said, that's enough tape and enough resume for us to go, oh, there's some substance to this. This isn't a fad.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. This is an actual trend. As a matter of fact, it becomes really close to the standard. Like, that's what 23 games in college basketball, one, changes the culture, identifies the team, makes you recognize the program, and then allows you to consider that may be your new culture. Unfortunately for Nebraska, for the previous years, the culture was the other, was the opposite. But 23 games in, you have an opportunity to say that everything is changing or has changed. It depends on how you want to have the conversation.
Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification here on 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
So to add on to that before your next point is there's a stretch that's coming up for you. It's not an easy stretch. You're going against two ranked opponents, one on the road and one that's going to come back into your house. If you don't bank this one, you're putting yourself in a huge disadvantage because now you've given up one in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
You've got one, and then you gave up another one in your building, and then got to go on the road and try to steal one from a ranked opponent. It's so much better now, and it feels good. There's a better taste in your mouth to hit the road with a victory, and a good victory. One where you didn't just skate by the skin of your, chinny chin chin.
Mm-hmm.
You went in and beat them.
You beat a Michigan State team that had some bite to it. Matter of fact, they still get national love, still in the top 30 rankings, even at 8-5.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's paint the picture. that this program, Fred Hoiberg's program, has beaten Tom Izzo and Mike Woodson consecutively. Say what you say. It's a thing. I said yesterday that I thought that this program needed to take 2 of the next 3, starting last night. So you got 1. Getting last night allows you to talk about winning the next 2. It allows you to talk about winning the next one. And the next one's the one that matters. It doesn't really have to think. Listen, beating Wisconsin says so much. It's not fatal, but you want it to taste fatal. I want to feel like when you line up and you see the other red, it's bull snort, angry Brahma. Oh, I have to finish you. I don't have the option. This isn't us taking an L today is not an option, bro. John Thompson used to talk about playing as though you're on the cliff. You're on the cliff. And he says there's 2 types of players. There's the player who gets at the cliff and is in battle, recognizing that if he falls, there's a mattress at the bottom of the hill to give him another try. There's that other dude that fights as though there is no mattress. That's Nebraska against Wisconsin. Make it important. Make everything important. When you say talk about taking care of it home, for me, we always had rules for home success. Turnovers, we had to be 2-to-1 turnovers to assist a turnover. Period. Period. It wasn't. Listen, there's one basketball. If you can't take care of it, you don't get it. You don't get it. If you're not going to do something good with it,
maybe
right?
Indiana needs that rule,
right? Well, but think about that.
They had
right?
1-to-1 last night,
right? That if you go through this, and I say to Strick, I'm going to give you this ball. It's the only one I have, and I need you to do something good with it. And you identify what something good is. Scoring a basket is the ideal. Scoring a basket is the ideal. Passing to an open teammate so that they can get a basket is 1B. 1C is simply getting it to another teammate so we can continue to do what we do, which is ultimately try to get back to 1A, which is get a basket. Anything else is unsuccessful. And we don't prepare to do the other thing. We don't drill to throw the ball to your opponent. So explain to me how we're missing this. And if I can't trust you with the one thing, and I would explain it, this is your wallet, this is your future, this is your girlfriend, your wife. If there's only one and you can't take care of it as though it matters, then you don't get to keep it. And you certainly don't get to keep doing it. That makes the rest of the play easy to identify. Like I had players that, look, I never had the most talented players, but I won 78% of my games because we remove nonsense from the play. And then defensively, it was the most important thing you can do is defend the next pass. Defend the next pass, right? Because we defend the basket first. Then the next important thing is defend the pass, right? The next thing is communicate. And then what do you do after that? Strict defensively, at whatever level you're playing at, go back to the top. Defend the basket, defend the pass, and then communicate. I can yell those 6 things at any basketball group at any level at any time. And I never have to communicate in greater detail because they know when I've trained, defend the basket first, right? If I want to get fancy, I'll say strict. You know what? The only pass I'm going to be okay with you allowing is away from the basket.
Back out or
I'm never going to with you allowing an entry pass or a pass across court because I know that defensive end of the floor from that 15 feet from free throw to bucket, right? I know that most basketball players can run it in a second. We don't see many passes that just take. Okay. So you can get there from anywhere. And if you can't get there, Strick, what does the coach say? Oh, you tired.
Yeah,
You tired. You tired.
Mm-hmm.
Fred Hoiberg and Coach Lenzer have done Nate Lenzer have done such a great job of communicating basketball in its simplicity. That you have a responsibility. I have a responsibility to play for Strick. That I need to defend my guy so that I make Strick better. Because Strick's down there working. I trust Strick is defending his tail off. And he got my back because he's going to make sure that my dude doesn't have an easy pass to make. And he's certainly not going to let anybody make an entry pass. So, okay, he's covered. Now, if I'm doing my job and you doing your job, it makes Austin's job really easy. And we get to communicate that. Hoiberg and Lenzer have done such a great job of communicating. Listen, give me one. All I want is for you to defend at 100% for the next pass. We didn't say this possession. We didn't say this quarter. We didn't say this half. Strick, keep Austin from catching this next pass. That's what you got me. Mm-hmm. And Strick. Oh, he made this. That's what Nebraska basketball did last night. Was to make it difficult for Indiana. Listen, Indiana is an elite Power 5 basketball program. And they got seven easy buckets all night.
And I want to speak to that point here for my last thought here. We have a 3994 saying Stricky, Nebraska is especially a basketball school, jumps on the bandwagon. Absolutely. A reason to believe in this basketball team is because that culture has shifted to a we over me. Mm-hmm. But also, Strick, I don't know if you said it on air, if this was one of our off-air conversations. Nebraska just looked like the better team. Nebraska wasn't lucky to win that game. No. Like, Nebraska had better players. Talk about basketball and its simplicity. Nebraska was just better.
They were just better. And when is the last time you've been able to say that? Like, let's just be honest. The last time outside of a non-con against an inferior foe, I've even seen non-cons where I was worried against. And I mean, I'm looking on paper and saying this is an inferior foe, but I'm worried because I don't know if I can trust, as you said, this what's going to come out here. Well, I don't know if there's any consistency that I can see that I could feel good about. And so you're absolutely right, man. I actually saw a better team. And there's not many in the Big Ten that I can say on paper and with my eyes that I can say just totally is better than Nebraska.
That's a dang thing to say. We'll keep watching the Huskers. They got Wisconsin next. I see Uncle Kev out there. We won't keep him waiting too much longer. We have a special guest at 5, right, DP?
Mark Manning, Nebraska Wrestling. They've got a doubleheader at home, dual meet. This is going to be exceptional. And then we're going to fire it back up, talk a little bit more Nebraska.
Sweet. That's old school coming up here in just a sec. For Strick, I'm Austin. Don't go anywhere. We got Thirsty Thursday and plenty of old school coming your way here in just a sec.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports is quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
The Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see some areas of fog. Otherwise, cloudy skies are expected for today. We'll see higher on 35. Tonight, mainly cloudy skies with a low around 25. And tomorrow, mainly cloudy skies will continue throughout the day. We'll see a high around 37. I'm meteorologist Kyle Klecker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Letting your children know you believe in them will go a long way toward making their dreams a reality. I'm Jenny Benson, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. It's important to celebrate learning. Focus on the positives, reinforce good effort and determination. Children need your encouragement and support. Our public schools want every student to succeed.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.